Happy Monday. I know everybody's had their what's it called? What's it called? Their recaps this weekend. I did a brief one, but I had to bring on the homie in the ring with Christine. We're gonna get into that in a
Hey,
couple
good morning.
seconds. I'm gonna bring her on in a couple seconds. Then we got
Oh,
Kid Austin. No, you good, Christine? You good? Kid Austin drama, more drama. I don't know what's going on in that camp. Did Turkey Alice cheat on Saturday? And did Shakur hurt his hand again? He's talking about a year later, him versus Shavante. He doesn't want. We don't know what's going on, but we're gonna get into all of that plus the fights of the night right after this. And there she is, the lovely co-host of the night, of the day
good
actually,
morning.
in the ring with Christine. You know what's funny? When you texted me the other day and you were talking about the trolls, and somebody said, "Hey, they said you should be in the kitchen," and I was just
Yeah,
like,
go wash the dishes.
"Go watch them." This is, and it's crazy because if you guys do your research, this woman is very decorated. You know what I mean? As boxing trainer, mom by day, boxing trainer the rest of the day. I think Olympics, if I'm not mistaken. I mean, can you run down your resume? Because some people are just
You
jackasses.
know, yeah. So, I mean, I'm very blessed to have take partaken in many wonderful things. I am a gym owner, have a world champion boxer out of the gym, first female in DFW coach or boxer. Been to the Olympics twice. I went to Tokyo and I also went to France. I'm a cut woman. I was with Team USA for 6 years, working with the top athletes in the United States. So I've done a little bit, and then I love to have I love to talk boxing. So I have a podcast on Wednesdays, and I'm so happy to be joining you because this is like some of my favorite stuff to just talk boxing.
Hold on, I can't just glance over that. So you were a cut woman for the Olympics. That's kind of crazy.
Well, I was a coach for the Olympics, but I am a
Oh, okay.
professional cut woman. Um, I think my biggest stage was, and I've done quite a few pro fights, was I was able to work with B&B, and I was the cut woman for Mari Zucker. And that was like, when they called me and asked me to join because they're very tight. The team is very tight.
Yeah.
But one of the coaches, Coach Red, couldn't make it. And so they're like, hey, let's call Christine to fill in. So it was just like, oh my God, pinch me.
No, it's kind of crazy. I seen the interview clips of it with you and Terrence Crawford, and it just seems like, and it's crazy. Even watching the interview, you could tell like the respect he had for you. You know, a lot of times you see, uh, women in boxing, and I wanted
Yeah.
to bring that up too because Clarissa Shields kind of bring up something months ago that nobody's talking about, and it's very hard for women in boxing to get respect. Especially boxing is like the lowest paid professional sport, right? Like nobody, unless you get to the top, you know what I mean? I'm talking about whatever.
Right.
It's not a lot of
Yeah.
millionaires pretty much in boxing. It's not like you become pro and you get a big signing bonus unless you're
No.
coming from the Olympics, and it's very, very few, far in between. But Clarissa
Yeah. And
Shields,
even they
yeah,
are not getting what they should.
no, absolutely, and this is a sport where when they say you got to lay it all on the line, they actually lay it all on the line.
Absolutely.
We've had so many deaths over the years in boxing. So I bring that up to say Clarissa Shields had brought up something recently about Riyadh season. And she said, don't forget about the ladies. And I
Yeah.
found that very interesting because Clarissa Shields is a little outspoken sometimes, but
Yeah.
she had a really great point. And I
She did.
noticed in Riyadh season there has never been a female match, or at least I could be wrong, but there hasn't been one.
Sky Nicholson
Oh, there was okay. There was.
was the only one. Because of Eddie and their dealings. But I think that was totally Eddie, and I'm just assuming. Um, and but I'm just gonna say really quick. I don't know if you saw this, but like whenever we call him Uncle Turk, that Crystal from my show came up with that. Uncle Turk got on stage. He said that he was having like some issues with Matchroom where there was something going on. So I don't know if that'll happen again. But I'm sorry. I just wanted to put
Yeah.
that out there.
No, it just kind of it was kind of crazy because I'm like, damn, there is, and especially now. There's a lot of with Gabby Fundora coming up. There's a lot of different girls. Uh, I would have loved to see Turkey try to make Clarissa Shields and Alicia Bumgard happen. I
Oh
think there's
yeah,
still a couple of matchups. Not even. I mean, he's probably not going to get with Amanda, but
right.
I think women need to be showcased more on these cards. Even there's a lot of women coming up. A lot like.
Yeah,
I couldn't believe how many women are now pro boxers. A lot of beautiful
absolutely.
women at that too. Like I'm like, wow, like this is a really
Yeah,
pretty girl. Like what's going on?
right.
I seen Leanna Cruz is really dope from Philadelphia. The Babyface Assassin, I think she's from the West Coast. There's a lot of girls coming up, and I'd like to see them incorporated in it. To be honest with you,
No, I agree. And it's like you hear all the like the little comments, the negative stuff, that they're
yeah,
boring, this and that. Well, there's a lot of boring men too.
yeah,
So let's just face it. And then there's some exciting men and there's some exciting women.
yeah.
But if you have these women that are putting in the work like the men, why can they not have the same opportunities, to live out their dreams as the men have?
No,
It's just not right.
no, you're absolutely right. And listen, I think it's boring. And just being honest, in the heavier division, for some strange reason, like when I watch the Carissa's competition,
Sure.
it's not a lot. But in the lighter weight
Right.
classes, there's some girls that really could scrap. And girls
Oh,
are built
sure.
smaller than men. So clearly, I
Yes.
think most women are going to be, the more competition is going to be in the smaller weight class. So I don't agree. I love Fundora, Gabby. I think she's the next one coming up.
Yeah, she's amazing.
Yeah, so I would love to see that happen, but it's kind of crazy because even when you watch realities and there's no ring card girls, you don't see women in the crowd. It's still kind of, I mean, that's how it is over there. You know what I mean? That's a
Yeah,
cultural
yeah.
thing. So
I think it's a cultural thing. Yeah, I think he's not a fan of women because it is a cultural thing. I do.
yeah, it's unfortunate because, you know, I feel like Riyadh season brings a lot of good things, and a lot of fans be like, "Well, he's making the big fights happen. He's doing this." And then you got to kind of look at the flip side of it.
Yeah.
It's not happening in America. This is an American sport, right?
Right.
We just
Right.
witnessed, and nobody's talking about this still, that it went from a 25K arena to 6K. That's not because of aesthetics. They were like, oh,
Right.
they wanted a bet. No, it was because nobody's going to buy tickets.
Right.
I looked this up, Christine. This is crazy. For me to go to the fight in Saudi Arabia, just the flight was like $1,300.
Wow.
$1,300. Vegas, you could catch a flight for 200. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Facts.
So
Facts.
to me, it's like, man, that's crazy. And then another thing is, I was thinking about economically. How is it going to affect Vegas or those big matchups in Vegas, Texas, New York? A lot of them are now going there. So I feel like something's going to transpire uh, with Americans and them regarding that because it's a lot of lost money. Like,
Yeah.
how are we doing William Skull versus Canelo Alvarez in
Right.
Saudi
Right.
Arabia Cinco de Mayo weekend?
I really believe, and this is just me, because I try to think about every scenario.
Yeah.
I think it's by design.
Okay.
We have this guy that came out of nowhere, Uncle Turk, and he wants to pretty much take over boxing from what it seems,
Yeah.
and having the fights there, we saw some things that weren't quite right,
Yep. We're gonna
in
get to
this
that.
beautiful card that we were all, couldn't wait to watch. And it was great. It was very satisfying. But I believe it's by design because the field, well, we'll talk about that when we talk about it, but there's certain things you just cannot do and will not do. And it can't happen in Vegas. It's not going to happen in Texas. It's not going to happen in other places. But that is his mecca,
Yeah.
So he can do what he wants. And that's what he wants,
No,
is to do what he wants.
and it's crazy because it has affected the promoters. We seen Bob Arum complain about the Jared Anderson situation, taking that fight because of the money. They're getting offered more money now. Now
Yes.
people also don't realize that may be now, but if he
Right.
does eliminate the competition, that money's not going to stay the same. It's not
That's
going
true.
to be like that. And I think bro, you see everybody just running over there, going, and it's kind of sad. Even the
It
promoters are
is.
just sitting there, and it's the money. It's like, oh, he's doing something great, but I'm like, bro, I hear you, but and back to the cultural thing, right? And let's talk about the economics of it.
Mm-hmm.
You're from Texas. You're about an hour behind from me, right? Something like
Mm-hmm.
that, right? The fight was at 12 p.m. Started over here, right? If you're in the West Coast, it's 9 a.m., right? A lot
Mm-hmm.
of pay-per-view buys, all right, happen by bars. What bars do you know are going to hold a fight at 9 a.m.? So they're losing a lot of money over
Absolutely.
here. They're losing a lot of money in sales because a lot of people want to do fight nights.
Right.
Boxing culturally,
That's
period.
you're right. You're right. You're right.
Man,
You grab your drink, grab your food, whatever, and sit back.
no,
Yeah.
and even like, let's say if it's not a bar, I don't know how much sales go in the bars, but those sales are like $2,000 each, right? That's how
Yeah.
much they charge. But even people at nighttime, whether you're Mexican, white, whatever you are,
Yeah.
it's a night thing. You're watching at
Yeah. It
night. The
is.
kids are asleep. You grab your beer. You have your
Fight
food.
parties.
Exactly. That's all being taken away
It
from
is.
from us, and I think it's affecting the viewership because they've definitely been complaining about people not tuning in, but it's
Yeah.
during the day, you know.
It's a great point. That day, it was my anniversary, 21 years married, and
Congratulations.
so all I wanted to do, thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's put up with crazy. He picked a crazy and oh my god. But it's like so for me that day it was great because we went to breakfast and I got to watch boxing all day for my anniversary, which I love. This is
Yeah.
perfect. But would I want this all the time? No.
No.
No, it was a special day, so yeah, cool, but I don't want it all the time.
This is a night thing. Boxing is an American tradition at night.
Yeah.
8 o'clock the earliest to me. A card
Right.
should start. The kids are down.
Yeah.
Even going
Yeah.
to the fight, just getting your family together. I remember watching Camacho and Chavez when I was a kid in my grandmother's living room with at nighttime, like waiting for 11 o'clock for Camacho to come out,
Yeah.
excited, right?
Yeah.
And there's like 100 people in the living room that really should fit 10, right? And
Yeah.
everybody's
Yeah.
hyped. That has been taken away from boxing right now.
You're right. You're
You
right.
know, the excitement of fighting in Vegas has been taken away. The fact
Yeah.
that Cinco de Mayo is going to be taking place,
That
it's,
hurts.
it's it's insane. I don't
That hurts.
understand. And Canelo's my guy.
Yeah.
I don't understand how and a lot of people say Cinco de Mayo isn't really a Mexican holiday, whatever. The real Independence Day is September, but still everyone celebrates it. It's like a
It's
universal
an
thing.
excuse for families to come together, for your friends to come together,
Yeah.
for you to share food and drinks. It is a tradition.
Yeah.
For whatever reason you celebrate, it is an excuse to get together.
Yeah, and it's not Mexican. We had
Right.
black. It's literally a fight. It's a fight night holiday.
Exactly.
We had
That
Mayweather
is
dominating it at one point. That was the big weekend.
absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
to see that, it's kind of crushing, and nobody said anything because of one reason: the cha-ching, the
Yeah.
money. And I'm
Yeah.
just like, dude, like that's it. Who the hell's gonna watch it at 12 o'clock, 9 o'clock on the West Coast?
I know.
Canelo versus
I know.
Skull. To me, it's like, man, like, and how about the face-offs? When you
Yeah.
go and it's like an arena of people waiting for Floyd to come
Right.
out, Canelo to come out. These are
Yeah.
all things that transpire in America that are being taken away.
I agree.
And it just sucks. And again, I think Turkey has done some good things, but it's clearly for Saudi Arabia. It's not for us. And
Yeah.
I think, yeah, we can stream it, but it's taking away the fan that likes to go to the events.
It is. It is.
And it sucks.
The couple of good things that I can see that he's done is we are getting some of the matchups that we've wanted to see.
Yeah.
And number two, he is paying these guys what some of them should be paid.
Yeah.
But then on the flip side, the bar has been raised so high, and so the guys that are just trying to make it or that aren't pro yet, they're like, well, I want to go pro because I want to get this big money. First, Mayweather was the bar. Now Uncle Turk is setting the bar even higher. And all of the promoters that are in bed with him are like, they're like kids getting, getting candy. It's like, Yes, whatever you say. You want to hold my hand? I'm gonna hold your hand.
All
You
right.
know,
Yeah, I mean, you got to think about it. Like, listen, I've thrown events, and when somebody comes and picks up the tab and you're getting paid,
right,
they're not gonna complain.
right.
I'm getting a
No,
fee and I'm not taking no risk. All I got to do is provide you with these fighters.
exactly,
So
exactly.
I get it, but it does stunt the growth of the developmental part of it. The younger guys that are
Yes.
coming up, the guys that may need to be on these major cards in order for people to see them. There was a time where we had Gervonta on an undercard of a major card to bring him up, or even a Shakur on a. It's not happening with these major cards. You're having all these big matchups, and look what happened to Bercoli this weekend. Like that was
Right.
sad. Like that was really
So
sad.
sad.
And
Well, and I was gonna say too, okay, and I think too another thing that's probably going to happen is some of these guys that aren't quite ready to peak yet and aren't quite ready for the big fights
yeah,
are going to be put in there and their careers are going to be over before they really begin. For
yeah,
instance, there was a lot of people that were really going to be rooting for Kid Austin. I don't think that was going to be a good idea for him. If he would have lost against Shakur, if he would have fought him and lost, where does he go then? He's already been to the top of the mountain, you know?
yeah.
And I'm just using him as an example that I think some of these guys will be rushed too soon.
No, I mean, and you're absolutely right. Jared Anderson is the key example,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
it's
yeah.
because of the money. Listen, boxing,
Yes.
and I think people need to understand. And I always argue with one of my coaches, my guy Hamza. He's always like, well, boxers, they can make 100 million in a night. No, boxer, it's very, very
Yeah.
rare. Floyd Mayweather,
Yeah.
Manny Pacquiao, with Tyson Fury, the majority of
Canelo.
boxers, yeah, Canelo, they're not seeing that type of money, right? The
Right.
economy of boxing
Oh, yeah,
doesn't
yeah,
work
yeah.
that way.
Yeah.
They don't have. Think about it. The NFL has actually it's $1 trillion TV deals from Fox, Netflix, CBS, major networks. Boxing doesn't even have a network that it lives on. It has an app
Right.
called The Zone that's becoming the most
Yeah.
popular. ESPN just dumped Top Rank. So it's like
Yeah.
it's not an even level playing field. There's no revenue
No.
going in on a constant basis. People are selling
No.
jerseys with the NFL. What are they selling with boxing? Nothing.
Yeah, that's true.
Nothing. So
Right.
it's one of those situations where it sucks for the promoter because they got to get the bag and then recoup some of it at the gate or whatever sponsors come
Exactly.
in. And another thing, 9 o'clock in the morning, how are you gonna get a beer sponsor? I mean, was there a beer sponsor in this event? Because I know
I
they,
know because I don't think you can even drink there.
exactly. So it's like, dude, you're literally taking away so many different things, and I feel like boxing is going to be hurt by that. And people don't actually. They're just like, oh, we're getting all
Right.
the big fights, but I'm like, dude, I get it, but there's no networks covering it. There's nothing.
Yeah, is it sustainable?
Yeah. No, absolutely. And again, if Turkey couldn't sell out 6,000, he had to go down to 6,000
I
seat
know.
arena. And people got to, let's take this into perspective. Probably 2,000 of that was free tickets. You got to get
Oh, for
tickets.
sure. All his people. And yeah, absolutely.
And it's just, to me, it's like, boxing is in a weird position, and we need these promoters to kind of step up and not kiss their ass, but create a union of sorts or
Agree.
something where they can really start feeding these kids. Because boxing is,
Yep.
I don't think Turkey's necessarily helping boxing, especially the growth of it. You know what I mean?
No.
This weekend was kind of was kind of crazy to me. A lot of people were excited, but let's get into the weekend. We can forget about this right now, but let's talk about the main event. Better Be versus Bivol. I had a lot of people. I had a lot of people calling me because Scully's my guy.
Yeah.
Oh, what happened to your guy? And I'm just like, I'm gonna let you tell me what happened. I know you actually got Better Be winning the fight.
I did. I had Better Be winning the fight, and I got a lot of people telling me that I never need to watch boxing again, that I should get into another sport. And I'm very petty at times, and I'm just like, yes, sir, Captain, okay,
Yeah.
whatever you say. That I watched it again. First of all, I want to talk about the commentating on that fight. It was ludicrous.
Yeah.
Anybody that has never watched boxing before, if they would have watched that fight and listened to the commentating, they would have thought their eyes were deceiving them. If because Beterbiev could throw three punches that land, and Bivol would throw one, and they would not say anything about Beterbiev, but Bivol was just like, oh my god, like dominating the whole fight. Um, I thought that Beterbiev won the beginning rounds, and that towards mid to the end, Bivol was on his bike a little bit more, but he was landing some punches. But I thought that Beterbiev closed the show. I really did. I mean, you could see the confidence in his face. I was confident. You saw Eddie looking very nervous. You even saw Bivol looking nervous. You know, one of the scores, I forget what it was. It was ridiculous.
116,
Like
112.
yeah, like what? You know, I would have been happy with a draw. I could have seen someone thinking that it was a draw.
Yeah.
But the body punches that were thrown early by Beterbiev were not acknowledged. And but if you watch Bivol's legs, they are starting to affect him towards the later rounds. But he recovered very well and just dug really deep. Respect to him. Like both of those guys are some of my tops, you know. But I really believe that Beterbiev won the fight by 2 rounds.
I thought it was a very close fight. I do agree. It could have been called a draw. I kind of edged Beterbiev, but again, people are gonna say I'm biased because Skull's
Oh,
my
me
guy.
too. But I don't care.
But I feel like a few of those rounds, Beterbiev was winning the entire round, and towards the end, Bivol would throw like a flurry and kind of steal the round at the end, right? And
Yeah.
I was just like, I can't necessarily give him that round. I feel like Beterbiev won. But it was very telling though, watching, I think after the seventh, right? Right after the seventh, Scully comes to the corner and I see Scully and he tells Beterbiev, he goes, Arthur, he goes, you're letting him gain his confidence back. You gotta take it away. You have him down, but for some strange reason, he took the seventh round off, which was kind of weird to me because Arthur really, he's kind of just very consistent with it. And I remember talking to them before the fight, especially Iceman. And he said if he stands there, we're going for the knockout. And I think it was the second or third round, he looked a little winded, like he was breathing really hard, Arthur, and I was kind of surprised. So I seen a lot of people saying the age is catching up with him. What do you think was the reason for that? Because he was breathing very heavy in the second or third round, I think it was, and then the seventh, he kind of took his foot off the gas.
Yeah, he did. You know, and I'm gonna get to that, but I also want to say, Beterbiev was picking it up, but it's like literally the last 2 seconds of a round or something.
Yeah.
Where Beterbiev would pick it up, and it's like, oh, he gets the whole round because of that.
You mean Bivol?
But human. You know, what are we paying attention to? What do we see? How are we ending the fight? You know, the human error. But you know, yeah, he is older. He is. I know that he trains very hard, and for his age, he is very conditioned to do what he does. But Bivol, in my opinion, was on his bike more this fight than the first one, and he knew to be. He knew not to stand in front of him. He knew not to trade with him so much in the pocket because he could possibly and would be knocked out. So I believe that Beterbiev had to work a little bit harder this fight than he did the first fight. But yeah, age, I mean, it's a thing. It's a thing. It doesn't matter how we feel mentally, physically, you know, age is real, you know.
Now, like I said, I was watching that. The breathing thing kind of threw me off. And then when I seen what Scully said, I thought it was really big for me because I don't think anybody, the commentators didn't say nothing about it. I heard it because I know Skull's voice and I seen him. I was like, okay, Scully is concerned. And Scully's like the realist. Like he's not going to pull punches. But, the decision's made. Beterbiev thinks he wins the fight. Bivol comes out and says, I'm going to take a long break to recover, which kind of plays in my head like, this guy's 40. You know what I mean? There's not many. He likes to stay active. Like, Beterbiev is probably in the gym right now. Like, from what Skull explains to me. Like, so he's like, thinking about taking a long break.
He was probably pissing blood that night because the body shots that he was taking, that were not commented on, but if you're paying attention, you see them. They were hellacious, and he probably was piss and blood. And the part about where you're saying that Scully was saying, pick it up, um, I think the vibe. I think I was obviously we weren't there, but I have a feeling that the vibe in the arena and the way some of the fights went previously that were questionable, like Boatsi and Smith, and then Turkey's guy, what's his name?
Aziz,
Haji,
Cerise.
yes, yes. I think that Shiraz, yeah, the things that were going on, it kind of set a tone.
No,
Like we pretty much have to knock Bivol out because we see who it's Eddie's guy. We see Eddie and Uncle Turk are sitting next to each other. So it's a vibe.
no,
That
but
was my opinion and my take.
how about this? This was weird to me. It was a pro Bivol card. You would have crowd. You
Yeah,
would have thought that Bivol was from Saudi Arabia. Like they were
yeah,
chanting "Be Bivol," and I'm like,
right,
there's
right.
no way that Bivol is that much. That didn't happen the first fight.
No, at all. And I mean, even the commentators, I mean, it's like they got this invisible, unspoken memo like, this is the guy, this is the guy. I'm not saying that they did, but it just seemed like there was just like an understanding, you know?
Yeah, no, and listen, it was an awkward night, and I'm kind of watching it. I was like, yo, this can't be real right now. Like, is this like how? And you're right. There might have been the fact that um, they felt it. They're like, yo, listen,
Yeah,
this is not. This, it might not have been fair ground. And again, I
yeah.
don't like to call that, but when you see stuff like this, which I'm going to bring up right now, since we're going to bring it up.
Point. We lose it 2 point. You have pressure. Lose it 2 point.
Now, I know you've been around boxing a long time. Have you ever actually seen that from? And again, people say, well, when somebody has a fighter, they'll let them know, but he's not supposed to have a side in the situation, right?
He is not supposed to be in the field of play. He is not supposed to be there. It is only for the coaches and the commission. That is it. For the corner and the commission, that is it. Nobody can go in the field of play, like at all. Like that is rule law. You don't do that. And that was my point earlier that him having full control of everything over there in Saudi Arabia, he can do whatever he wants to do.
Yeah.
And he knows that. And that's why he doesn't care about what's going on, in the United States and that we have to get up early and that we're not having our parties and this and that because he will have full control, on his dirt.
Well, he's also, people tend to forget he's what is it? He's in charge of entertainment in Saudi Arabia. So he
Yeah,
doesn't,
like all the sports, something or other. Yeah.
no, and that's the thing that, like, to bring up to your point, he is in control, and everybody knows that. So, and he lets it known. Like it's not
Oh,
something that's hidden. Like
absolutely.
he's like, yeah, this is me. I'm like he loves the camera. He loves to. I've seen him take
Absolutely.
shots at Canelo, take shots at Gervonta. I've seen him take
Yeah.
shots at people, and he's just like, yo, like this is what it is. I'm bringing it here, and that's it. Are these individuals scared to push back? Because that to me was kind of like, wow, like did
Yeah.
you really do that?
They're scared to pull their hand away.
Yeah.
Literally.
No, it's insane, man. Like, and again, I love some of the stuff he's done, like bringing back Ring
Yeah.
Magazine. I love that, having that
Yeah.
big ceremony, bringing some of the great elites. But it's just like, to me, these are the things like this, with the scorecard. Every event's in Saudi Arabia.
Yeah.
This is necessarily, is it for boxing or is it for Saudi Arabia?
There's a definite agenda. Even the first fights that he started putting on, what was he giving away? Mercedes Jeeps.
Yeah.
Okay, he was doing concerts. We didn't want that, but he was doing everything. He was giving us sprinkles, crumbs to
Yeah.
set all of this up.
Yeah, he was trying to get the public's eye early, for real. Yeah.
Absolutely. Who doesn't want to go to Saudi Arabia and win a Jeep? I want to win a Jeep. He didn't do it this time. But then he starts pulling back. And now, I've done this, I've done that, and I run this.
No, absolutely. And again, my biggest concern is the fact that it's all about size, and people aren't thinking about it economically
No.
how it's gonna affect Americans.
No,
You know,
no.
bars, like I said, they're losing money.
Facts.
You know, bro, like you can't have liquor sponsors. I think because it's a Muslim country or whatnot.
Yes,
Like
right.
these are all things that add to the culture of it. I'm not sitting here caping for beer companies, but they're a major thing
No,
in
me
sports.
neither, but it is
Yeah.
a reality.
No, 100%. Like, they spend millions in ads. And it's just like, yo, like they're kind of trying to take this entire situation there and and it is going to affect us. And it's stuff like this can happen. And again, what are you going to say? None of these promoters have the balls to say anything. Bob Arum's the
Yeah.
only one that was like, I think it's bullshit. And when he was talking
Yeah.
about the Jared Anderson thing, he called it out, and people critiqued him for that. But in my opinion, he was 1,000% right. Jared Anderson
Yeah,
should have
Bob
never
doesn't
took it.
care.
Yeah,
He's
Bob.
like,
He's like, listen, I'm
I'm almost
105.
out. I don't care.
Yeah, he's 110. He doesn't care.
Yeah, he doesn't care.
But stuff like that, it kind of questions like, and I think that played a major part in the Canelo versus Buck Crawford fight, because we all
Yeah.
know that's Turkey's man is Bud.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think about out of the 4-fight deal, that is the only one that is in Gillette Stadium in the United
Right.
States. And I think
Right.
Canelo was like, listen, I can knock everybody else out, right? That you're gonna
Right.
give me. But Terrence may be a different problem, and I'm not going to take the risk
Right.
and I think even Canelo
Possibly.
might have felt that way. I
Yeah,
mean,
it's so funny. It is very telling, but I don't think people are looking at it that deeply as you just explained it. But it does actually come to that.
yeah, I would not listen. He was, and again, I no disrespect Terrence. I love Terrence Crawford.
Yeah, yeah.
But he was caping for Terrence the entire time.
For
He called
sure.
Canelo a coward. He said he
Yeah.
didn't want the big fights. So I think that played into part in that regard. And it was kind
Absolutely.
of, there was a couple things that were funny too, like when they asked him about Times Square, about the Ryan Garcia fight coming up. Like, he kind of like shrugged it off, like, whatever, when it happens, it happens. But again, he's going to give us that little bone to then bring Devin Haney versus Ryan Garcia to Saudi Arabia? What?
Yeah, I know.
Like, come on. Like, every major fight's going to happen there. I'm not paying $1,200 for one flight. I'm sorry.
I know, right?
No, and I don't think
And that's
people are
just the
paying
flight.
it. Yeah, I mean, I don't know how much hotels are there. Like,
Right.
I mean, every major fight that I can think of right now is possibly happening in Saudi Arabia. The
Yeah.
Gervonta fight, it's going to happen, if it does happen, in Saudi. I mean,
Yeah.
Gervonta might push back because, he's like, Shakur's his man. And he said it with the Haney fight. He goes, oh, Devin was his man. I didn't
Yeah.
want to take the fight. And listen, people critique Gervonta for that. No, Gervonta was 1,000% right. Like, yo, that's his man. He's clearly backing certain individuals that he can put in his
And it's
pocket.
funny that he's able to do that, because promoters and managers, they have their guys and they really just push for them. But all these other guys, most of them have other promoters and other people involved, but he
Yeah.
makes it very clear.
No, but like, listen, we're talking about, and I don't want to put this on Turkey, but look at all the fighters that backed out this weekend. It was just weird. Like,
Yeah.
it was just very weird. Kid Austin, obviously gets sick. What's the fight with this guy? When he killed the heavyweight fight, then this guy ends up like, it
Yeah.
was just, to me, it was like, yo, are they saying, hey, we're spending too much in this fight? We didn't get like, that's what I feel like, yo. And people are like, oh, but he has a shitload of money. Yes.
Yeah.
The one thing I learned about
Burger
rich,
fight. Yeah.
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 The one thing I learned about rich people is that rich people are cheaper than broke people. Broke people spend more money.
Facts.
Broke
Facts.
people go buy Gucci when they don't have it.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? So
Absolutely.
there's,
Yeah.
I feel like it might have been a little bit overspending, and he was like, yo, you know what? Maybe we should just move these fights over. And I think, listen, look how much stuff happened this weekend if you really,
Yeah.
random sicknesses.
Yeah.
The scorecard, the shrinking of the arena. There's so many things that are just
So many
transpired
things
this
are
weekend.
telling if you pay attention.
Yeah.
Yes, and I actually one of my really good friends, very dear friends of mine, was over there, and I asked her, I was like, "How are you? Like, are you well?" She's like, "Yeah, I'm fine." And I said, "Well, everybody's getting sick," and she's like, "No, we're fine. Everybody's fine."
Yeah, I mean
Yeah.
it's BS, man. And and you said she. I'm surprised she went. She must have felt uncomfortable out there.
Well, she, I mean, she works with athletes,
Oh, okay.
so she was there working, but it was it was interesting. It was
No,
interesting.
it was very interesting to see so many people like literally back out. Like that to me was just like, nah, bro. And I don't know, man. I'm not big on the conspiracy stuff, but just too
Yeah.
many things happen. Uh,
Right.
like I'm telling you, when Bivol and Betterby was going on, and all I kept hearing was Bivol chants. I was like, dude, this is not a home game for him.
I know. I
Like,
know. If you pay attention, it's very telling. If you pay attention, but if you are biased, which I mean, I'm biased at times, I'm not going to lie, but if you are just totally biased and you're a cheerleader for Uncle Turk, then you don't see these things. But if you really pay attention, there's some things that are red flags.
no, no, absolutely. But again, I would not be surprised if in the next couple years, certain things about corruption come out of boxing. Because again, it's
Yeah.
out of our control. This is their commission. We literally have
Absolutely.
nothing to say. But I wouldn't be surprised. And again, not to say that boxing hasn't been corrupt in the states, but
Right. Right. Sure.
I feel like there is going to be some things that are going to come out, and I think people are going to try to bury it because of the fact that a lot of the major players are getting paid. But I think you're going to start seeing some of that stuff come out. I really,
I think so.
truly believe, and I think this weekend, some people spoke on it, but a lot of those bigger bloggers or whatnot, they kind of just quiet, and they have the money to shut people up. But hey,
For sure.
who am I? But let's go forward. We were talking about Shakur Stevenson, right? And I'm going to play this video for the fans. He fought the electrician from down the block. He just did the lighting in my house. This one. It took him 9 rounds. And this is, and I watched the interview, and I wish I would have uploaded, I didn't, of, his name is Padley, if I'm not mistaken. And
Apparently, yes.
they asked him about the fight with Shakur and the power. And he said, no, it didn't, the power didn't really affect me. He said, but what did affect me was the fact that I wasn't able to train. But I got offered so much money for this fight that I
Yeah.
had to take it. I don't have to go back to being an electrician anymore. And he said, the fact that my body wasn't conditioned for the fight, it hurt me. That's what hurt me. It wasn't the physical power of Shakur. What do you, I mean, you're a trainer. You've been in the ring. You've dealt with fighters. What do you make of those statements?
Yeah, no, I mean, I totally agree. Something that I talked about on another podcast was the fact that, well, there was 2 points. The fact that there were times when Shakur got touched more than he should have by Padley. He should not have been touched by Padley.
No.
In my opinion. Yes, it's boxing, but you're longer, you know how to use your feet, you know your ranges. Padley just jumped on, got off of work, jumped on a plane, and there he's at.
Yeah.
There he is. So that was one thing that was concerning, that he was able to touch Shakur quite a few times and even like turn him around on the ropes, and reverse what Shakur was doing. The second thing, and I said before, and I'll say it again, I don't know who wraps his hands. I don't know, I'm sure that they are professionals. I'm sure that they are amazing. But something that if I notice that one of my guys has an injury or is constantly getting hand injuries, look, that's the moneymaker. Your hands are your moneymaker. You have to take care of those hands. Maybe we need to change something up with the padding, not only on the bag work, the mitts, sparring, and in the fight. It has to be the whole gamut. So I'm concerned about that. because he continues to hurt his hands. You know, unless he has some kind of condition where maybe he has brittle hands. I don't know. But my first thought was, what kind of padding and hand wrapping is being done?
You know what's crazy, which was concerning to me as well, was you're right. He did have brittle hands in that situation. He got hurt, and it wasn't the wrapping, but there was a lot of concern when he took there was a picture he took recently. He had these big scars on his hands, right? During training, he was saying he's about 80%, whatever. My biggest concern was this: what if Schofield did decide to show up and he was in shape and he's a fighter that's in your chest like that? Because
Yeah.
Shakur clearly in this fight, reason, in my opinion, why he was getting touched was because he wanted to make a point. He wanted to show that he can stop someone so people can say, hey, listen,
Yes.
we could go right to the Javante fight.
Agreed.
But even after the fight, you could see it in his face. He's kind of like trying to make excuses about it, like, well, any of the great fighters, I'll make it look like that. Then he says the Javante thing, well, I'm going to need more time. He is very, very concerned about his hands. He
Absolutely.
is to the point where maybe that's why they said, you know what, maybe he's not ready for Schofield as opposed to Schofield being ready for him because of his hands. Because listen, we can say whatever about Schofield, right? He's green, but he's definitely the better fighter. He's physically stronger. He would be in shape. He's heavier. He's in your chest, and that's something that Shakur might have not been able to do is with his hands because of the condition to ward him off. And that's how I felt about it.
Yeah. I think that all he Kid Austin is everything that you said he was. He is. But we also know that Shakur will get on his bike and go. But as far as keeping him off, that would have been a problem, especially with the hands. I think that even though he was not totally completely healed, the money would look too good
Absolutely.
to not take the fight, which is very detrimental. And how many of our champions are going to be swayed by the bag with Uncle Turk? Because any other promoter that has something to gain or lose is going to take care of their guys and say, you know what, he's not ready. They're going to make excuses. They're going to postpone because at the end of the day, they want to continue making money off of their guy. I think Uncle Turk just doesn't really think about that or care about that.
No, he doesn't. I mean, and he might have certain relations with certain guys because I don't believe Austin was really sick. I don't. I think there's a lot going on there. And again, Shakur needed to be impressive. People were saying you're putting us to sleep. I watched videos yesterday of that fight of people clipping and falling asleep. Calling, look,
I know.
He is getting destroyed on the internet, regardless.
Yeah.
I fell asleep. I'm not gonna lie. I fell asleep. I was sitting there. And I was I cannot take the fact that it's just, whatever. And you're right. You bring up a point. Well, Shakur could have probably gone on his bike against Austin. The reason he couldn't do that was because of how much more criticism he would have got. I think
for
he knew
sure.
that. I think
For sure. And that's what concerned me if he was going to fight Kid Austin, because he thinks, or he felt that he had to prove himself that he could be in the pocket and he could outbank someone. He does have power. So I was concerned about that. And I think that, I just heard some things about the weight and then the Wednesday weigh-in and that he went. I think we talked about this before. The dad went to the commission and said, hey, we've been poisoned. So of course they're going to call it off. But that's like a whole other can of worms, because his dad had to backpedal himself because he's looking at some lawsuits for defamation.
It doesn't make any sense at all. That whole situation. That's why I'm like, there's something
Weird.
else. There's something else. And again,
Who knows?
If
Maybe he played the role too good.
I mean, maybe, or he probably overacted. Like you said, he played too good.
Yeah.
Like, I believe, and this is just me. I don't think he was ever sick. I feel like it might have been that situation where, listen, Shakur might not be that. He might not be ready, and we all know whose horse that is in the race. And I think you could start questioning that because, it just none of it made sense. They were saying that Kid Austin at one point was saying he could fight after he got out of the hospital. Then they find this guy, a perfect opponent when there was other people that would have took the fight that had better resumes.
Right.
I forgot this one. There was Mexican. He was like 41-0 with like 31 knockouts. I forget his name. He wanted to fight. He was at weight. They
Yeah.
chose somebody.
Yeah. Abel.
Yes, Abel. They,
I know Abel.
yeah,
No comment.
oh no, you can't do that. You gotta. What happened? No, why not?
Hey, look, listen. Let me just say this, and this is nothing against Abel. This is nothing against Abel. Okay, this is just in general boxing. Whenever you see a guy and their record is so beautiful, we need to dive deeper. You need to go into BoxRec. You see who they fought.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's like I'm not saying Abel did this, okay? I'm talking about just in general.
Yeah.
If I want to pad one of my guys' records, I could do that. And on paper, shit, they do that now.
Yeah.
They do that now. You get this guy, oh, he's number one. He's the mandatory. Because you look at his record, and then they get in the ring and you're like, what the hell are they doing in here?
Yeah. No.
You know?
Absolutely.
I mean, look, the fight that was on Top Rank with oh my gosh, Fulgorm, Fulgum. Who did he fight? Sorry, no offense. It's one of my guys' brothers, but the record looked amazing.
Yeah.
And the guy got in there, and you're like, what is going on?
No, but at least we knew who Abel was. I had no clue who this guy was. Like, I was arguing with my boy Jerome McCoy, right? And I'm telling him like the difference is with a pro signed to let's say a major, right? Their life is training pretty much for the most part.
Yeah,
right?
sure.
That guy literally was going to work, probably working 12 hours a day,
Yeah.
right? Some nights he go to the gym, some nights he's not because he doesn't have a fight.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
They literally picked someone that, and I believe they expected him to finish him earlier. I really believe that.
Absolutely. I mean, I did. I didn't expect it to go to the 9th round. I did not. And I even said, I turned to my husband and I was like, he's got to stop him in like 2 or 3. Like,
Yeah. Especially if he wants that Gervonta fight. I mean, and I think this was the setup. And I don't even know if Gervonta ever even made it to Saudi Arabia. I thought he was supposed to go, but he put, you see him, he tweeted, he said, laughing out loud. Like, this is ridiculous. And people are clowning him. So there's a lot to be unwrapped or whatever in this whole Austin situation. It's getting weirder and weirder, actually. Let's go to Kid Austin. First of all, he tweets this, right? About Team Golden Boy. He said, pulling out last minute fight. Basically saying he's going to be a free agent, right? He's a free agent in a few months. Then he says you can hack accounts and emails, but you cannot hack, what he says, you cannot hack true relationships. What? First of all, Jesus Christ. You put out multiple statements about that. I guess De La Hoya was very critical about how they handled the situation out in whatever. And your response is to say, well, we'll be a free agent soon. You pretty much threatening Oscar. Oscar probably seen the message, reached out to you guys and said, oh, really? Oscar, there's one thing about Oscar De La Hoya. He don't play. He don't play when it comes to contracts. He's very quick to say, oh, Ryan Garcia, you think you're going to fight in Japan. Okay.
Right.
Well, this is what's going to happen. And you haven't even heard a peep about that Japan rematch, by the way.
Right.
He's actually, I think he's actually sued Ryan Garcia at one point.
Yeah, a contract is a contract. You know what I'm saying? I mean, what happened to integrity and being a man of your word? When the contract's over, okay, you go do whatever the hell you want. But you have to fulfill a contract. Like, come on. Like, there are legal ramifications.
And Oscar is the one promoter that does not play and will make it public. And I think he received the phone call and said, oh, you're trying to play with me right now.
Right,
Is that
exactly.
what you're doing? And their responses all weekend have been absolutely insane. I got poisoned by a masseuse who put a cream on me.
Right.
Shakur doesn't even have a masseuse, right? Apparently.
Yeah, and why are they touching you?
Exactly. You were sick, then you weren't sick, and now your accounts were hacked?
Yeah.
Dude, come on, bro.
It's ludicrous. And the thing is, too, like, going back to the contracts, like, not only do you have to live out your contract, but the thing is, what other promoter is going to want to sign you when they see that when things don't go your way, you're going to just try to get out of the contract? Like, come on. Come on.
Absolutely. Listen, that whole thing, I was like, you got hacked. Why does everyone go to
stupid.
whenever there's a stupid comment, I got hacked?
Always.
It's like, come on, bro, you didn't get hacked.
Who cares enough to do that? Seriously.
I'm like, dude, at the end of the day, you were running off emotion. You were pissed, and you thought Oscar wasn't
Emotion.
going to respond. And
Absolutely.
Oscar, he's with the smoke. Oscar is
He's
not.
with it.
Yeah, Oscar's not one of those guys that's like, oh, okay, I got time to play with you guys.
Yeah.
We can go to
Let's
court.
see what he comes up with on Clapback Thursday.
Oh my God, I think I think he's not going to mention that. He's going to, of course, because I think Austin and him are going to pretty much beg him. That is mercy right now.
Yeah, they are.
No, listen, Oscar is one that, again, like we were saying, he does not care to play with people. He's like, oh, this is what you want to do? You know, even with the Haneys, like, and I remember when the Haneys launched their lawsuit, I told people, listen, it's about securing the second fight.
Absolutely.
But Oscar has time to play. He has the money.
He
He has
does.
the
And he is
resources.
petty.
100%. Listen, the guy's doing interviews on a G-string. And
Right.
still, hey, listen, it doesn't bother him. Nothing affects Oscar. And I really believe this Austin. I mean, listen, I would not be surprised that if Oscar De La Hoya now kind of shows him or falls back or maybe sets him up in a fight that gets him out of here. I would not be surprised.
That.
You know what I mean? And I think...
Yeah, because the more he wins, the longer the contract goes. So that part. That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, and listen, they have been horrible. Like, they've been, throughout this whole Shakur presser or promotional tour, they have not been good. I mean, listen, Shakur's talking about, I feel like they're going to back out. It's just so much.
Yeah.
I'm like, bro, how do you call that? And they actually back out. Like, it's just so many things happening. I don't know what's going on with Austin. I feel like he may have to make a move.
I feel sorry for him because his dad is literally grabbing his career and flushing it down the toilet.
Bro, I think he's the one tweeting. I think it's him putting messages on Instagram, and he's putting his son in these really, really bad situations.
It is. He's even admitted it. Like, he is the one. And even Kid Austin said, yeah, my dad handles all that. He's the one that got me this fight because he's the one talking all the crap. You know, and I'm just like, no, give him back his own account. Like, get your own. Like, leave your son alone. You're killing it.
He's definitely put him in a bad situation, and I think now it's gone on. It's surpassed the Turk. It's really with Oscar, and I think Oscar is. And this is. And remember, if you recall, the first time that they went for the fight, Oscar said no. They were like, well, we're gonna make the fight anyway. Oscar did not want to make this fight. Then you behave like this. Then you say you're gonna be a free agent after Oscar said, "All right, boom, let's make it happen. Is this what you want?" Listen, there's but so much a man can take, and I think right now, Oscar is on the way to really making an example of Kid Austin because at the end of the day, he did have a decent night. We had Ortiz had a great night. Who was a Golden Buffalo.
Oh yeah.
So he's just like,
surprise. Oh yeah, he looked great.
I mean, listen. Right now at 154, he's looking like that guy. Oscar got him.
He is.
Yeah, I'm like, listen, kid, you can go. And I think Kid Austin's put himself in that situation.
Yeah.
You know?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Speaking of Ortiz, let's talk about Ortiz real quick. How big of a statement was that?
Huge. It was totally huge because, like, I personally was afraid because he's got that mean streak where he just jumps in and wants to destroy you, even if he takes some shots. So I was thinking that that's how he was going to play this, and he did total opposite of what I thought.
Yeah.
He took his time. He imposed his will, but he also boxed. I mean, he took shots well. He totally dogged Majimov. He looked amazing to me.
I'll tell you this, and I know Bud's your boy. I know that's your guy. All right?
Yeah. He's my guy.
They both came up from 147 to 154.
Yeah.
Right? Granted, Majimov looked bigger than Bud, or about whatever.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Bud, he got hit a lot with that fight. He didn't, whatever. He ended up winning in the decision, right?
Yeah.
Virgil looked way bigger.
He is. Virgil is big. He's moved up, but you have to remember, too, he's always had trouble losing weight. He is a big guy. Like, he is big guy.
Yeah.
And he's super fucking strong. I mean, he did exactly what he needed, and what he needed to do.
Yeah.
And I have to admit, like at first I was like, I think Majimov might take it. Because I thought that his game plan was going to
The
be the
herky
same as it
jerky.
was in
Yeah.
his previous fights.
Listen,
I was wrong.
I feel like when I was watching the fight, Virgil, right, from the onset of the fight, right, we seen you look at Majimov, he's doing this kind of same thing with buddies, in and
Yeah.
out, he's bouncing.
Yeah.
By like the fourth round, he took that
That
away.
was it.
Virgil was like, all right, I'm gonna take your body away, and there was a
Yes.
point where he was just like, oh, I can't, and he just
Yes.
gloved up and started trying to take away what Virgil
Yeah.
was doing. Virgil was beating the hell out of him.
He
took his
was like a
legs.
piñata.
Bro, he looked strong. Like
He
looked
did,
like
and he
should
is
have been
strong.
there. Yeah.
He's super strong. He's always been strong. I mean, he's come up with some of my kids, and they fought back and forth, and he's always been strong. He is strong, and he's super nice outside of the ring. He's the nicest guy ever, but in the ring, it's just like something switches.
Listen, he looked very like I'm gonna keep it real. He looked dominating at 154. Like his
Yes.
size, he looked like he can go to 160. Like that's
Yes,
how
I
that's
agree.
how big he looked. I was like, yo, I'm not gonna lie. There's a reason Boots didn't want this smoke at 154.
Honey, listen,
I was like,
he would destroy Boots.
listen, I'm not gonna. I was sitting there like, bro, you seen it in Majimov's face. Like he was sitting there like,
He
yo,
was.
this
Who
is
the
not-
hell is this guy?
Yeah, like, and listen, that's exactly what Virgil needed. He needed
Yes,
that. And
he did. This was like a make it or break it for Virgil.
Yeah.
It was. And I hate to say that with all his talent, but it was. And this just solidified who he is and what he is. It just sealed the deal.
Yeah, no, listen, it makes me want to, and I'm not gonna lie, I think he beats Fundora at 154.
I do.
I think he
I
beats
do.
Charlo. I think he beats
Yes.
whoever's. Listen, I don't. Outside of, and I think him and Bud would be 50-50 for me, personally,
Mm-hmm,
because of his size. And we're not going to get a Bud versus Ortiz fight. I think Canelo's last
Right.
fight. But I think
Yeah,
at 154, I believe that this kid is going to unify. And listen, as a Puerto Rican, thank God he didn't take Xander Zayas. I think he would have killed him.
There was talks. There's talks still about that.
Not right now. He's not ready for Virgil. Virgil looked good. The speed didn't bother him, and he reminded me of a young Chavez. Right? Whenever Chavez would fight these fast fighters, I'm going right to the body early. I'm gonna take your legs and I'm gonna see what you got.
Yeah.
And that's
Yeah.
exactly what he did. It was
So
very
smart.
impressive.
So freaking smart.
He showed athleticism. He showed smartness. He showed toughness.
Yeah.
Showed power. Showed an IQ.
He didn't slow down. He didn't slow down.
If I was anybody, and it was a question at one point, like, yo, at 154, who's the guy? I'm gonna say it's Virgil right now. I
Yeah.
believe it's Virgil Ortiz, and I want to see what happens in this division. Is Bud now? I'm not Bud. Is Boots gonna go up to 154? He was talking about that. Are we gonna see guys go up? I think he's gonna be hesitant because Virgil. I think he's gonna be the king of that division.
He will avoid his ass like the plague. Look, I'm still waiting for Boots to just really fight somebody.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, listen, that was the toy. It was supposed to be, people always said Bud was ducking Boots. And I was just like, yeah, how about the Virgil kid? Why isn't that happening?
Right.
And you can't have it one way without the other. If he's ducking him,
No.
then is he not ducking Virgil? Why didn't he want to fight Virgil at 154?
Exactly, exactly.
Wasn't he?
And at the time, what did Boots have to offer Bud? What did he have to offer him? Nothing.
Yeah, no.
Why elevate you? Bud's trying to get elevated and then get up out of here. Why? Why am I gonna? Why? For what?
No, absolutely. And I think Virgil, like again, I think he sent a message to everyone that even if
He
you want to
did.
come up to 154, if you're
Come
in
see me.
154, I think he's that guy.
He is
I
that guy.
really believe he's that guy.
Yeah,
And,
Virgil's that guy.
Who's talking about the 154? It's I know, but Bud's I think gonna eventually drop
He's,
it.
yeah.
He's gonna drop the belt. I don't see him going back
Yeah.
down. Then you got Fundora has one, right?
Adore, yes.
Who else? Who has the other two titles? I don't even remember.
Somebody help us.
I have no clue. But I'll tell you this right now. I believe. I want to see what happens. I want to see who steps up to the plate. I hope it's not Errol Spence. I think Errol Spence is done.
Yeah, I love him, and I just want him to, like, be with his family. He's made enough money. He's made some good investments. Although Arrow's my guy too. Bud was my guy. I picked a corner. I picked Bud. It was painful to watch,
Yeah.
and I don't want to see that again.
Yeah, and honestly, I think that's exactly what we will witness. Arrow's been gone almost 2 years.
Yeah,
I really do. I hope he does retire. But I feel like he's going to go after the big fight, and he may. And listen, he has a heart of a champion. He may say, "Hey, let me get Virgil."
yeah,
I hope. And again, it's a good fight for Virgil in terms of
yes,
notoriety and getting him a big opponent. But I really feel like he literally ends his career. But
yeah.
I mean, it's gonna. I want to see what happens. I want to see who he fights, man. I'd like to see him fight.
It would definitely be like a machismo pride thing for EJ, because Virgil was a kid when EJ was number one in the nation, and he looked up to him, and they came out of the same gym, Gene Vivero's gym. They both started there at the same time, except Virgil was like 8 and EJ was 15. So it would either be, I'm gonna show this little guy that I still got it, or it would have to be some good money. And I think Virgil would be like, I'm gonna fight one of my guys that I looked up to
Yeah.
in the gym. It would be, I don't want to see it. It'd be bittersweet.
Now, I'd like to see him fight
But
the guy that beat Zoo. I forgot his name. Oh God, gotta beat Tim Zoo.
hold on. Well, Fedora, but
No, but I'm talking about the guy that beat Tim Zoo. Like he beat the life out of him. I forgot his name.
beat him.
Yeah, bad. That would be
Yeah,
dope. I think he's coming. He's fighting
early.
soon too, but I think that would be great. But Virgil Ortiz is definitely opened the door for stardom right now. I think 154 suits him very, very well, and I think it's gonna be a lot of problems for people. That's just I'm gonna end that on that.
Yeah, same.
You got anything to add to? I mean, we're gonna be doing this every Monday, right? 10 o'clock.
Yeah, every Monday, 10 a.m. your time, 9 a.m. my time Central. No, it's great. Like, I mean, great conversation, great vibe.
Yeah.
I love talking boxing. You do too.
Yeah.
So let's do it.
No,
I
I'm
appreciate
glad I
everybody
can
tuning
talk.
in.
I can talk with such a professional though. That you've been through it all.
Me with you.
You know, I never trained anybody. I grew up Puerto Rican. I grew up watching
Yeah.
the fights. I grew up loving guys like Camacho, Mike Tyson,
Yeah,
Cotto.
hey.
So like
Great.
from a fan perspective to a professional perspective, that's kind of what I like about it. So
I like it.
It's dope. But on that note, I'm gonna let you go. I gotta get to
Thank
the
you.
family thing. I know you gotta do
Yeah,
the
I'm
same.
gonna head to the gym. I said, guys, I'll be a little late today, but I'm headed
man.
out.
I'm sorry to the guys that she's late, but I
Nah,
appreciate
they
you.
know on Mondays I'm gonna be late now.
Nice. Appreciate you, Christine.
Thank you. Have a good day.
You too.
Take
Have
care.
a good one. Again,
Bye-bye.
Bye. Again, guys, that was the homie in the ring with Christine. She has another pod that she does on Wednesdays. I'm not exactly sure the time, but make sure y'all tune in. Make sure y'all follow her on Twitter, Instagram, everything. I'm going to be chopping up some of these videos hopefully today and releasing them every Monday. I will be on with In the Ring with Christine right here, 10 o'clock in the morning. It's going to be here, and I'll be back on tomorrow. I'm probably going to go on this whole week, so we're going to get it shaking. On that note, I am out of here, y'all. Appreciate y'all.